Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having an excellent day today. For this week's video, we're going to talk about 3 concepts that can help you guys add some soul and emotion to your playing. Now, hopefully by adding these 3 techniques into your repertoire, we're going to help elevate your playing from good to excellent. So what we're going to do is start by listening to a quick 1-minute solo where I use these 3 techniques, and then we're going to break it down afterwards and hopefully make it applicable to your guys' playing so you can start adding it to your repertoire. Let's take a listen. Alright, so there was the ballad. So let's talk about the 3 techniques that we used in this solo. Now the first one is dynamics. And when we're learning techniques, whether it's soloing or rhythm playing, lots of times dynamics doesn't get taught. And this is such an important part to adding some emotion. And it goes along with phrasing and technique, and all those things are really important. But dynamics can really take a very simple guitar part and make it kind of soul-wrenching or gut-wrenching or whatever. We've all experienced that, you know, where a guitarist plays like 3 notes and you're like, oh man, that hit me right here or whatever. And that has to do with dynamics and a few of the other techniques we're going to talk about. Now in our solo, we added dynamics in 2 different ways. The first way was physically playing some notes louder than others, which sounds like this. Right? So we've got basically digging into your strings and then backing them off. And that just kind of really creates an emotional push and pull. And the second thing that we did to add dynamics was simply add space, which sounds like this. Alright, now the second technique that we used in the solo to give your playing some soul was, of course, vibrato. Now, vibrato is an essential skill for each player to develop. It gives your playing its own stamp or its own unique voice. So what we're going to do today is look at 3 famous vibrato techniques to hopefully give you guys some ideas or a place to start. Alright, the first famous vibrato that you guys could try is, of course, B.B. King. So if you go and watch like The Thrill Is Gone or any of his big famous songs, you'll notice he uses his whole wrist and he uses a really fast vibrato. It sort of sounds something like this. So it's a very unique technique. That's really hard to say. Anyway, it's a unique technique. So BB's vibrato was a really big influence on my playing. Let's check out another one. All right, now let's look at Stevie Ray Vaughan's technique, which is totally different than B.B. King's. He would sort of hold a note and just kind of shake his whole neck. So a really interesting technique. Sounds something like this. So that's a really fun vibrato technique because it's really physical. You're really moving the whole instrument and your whole guitar and body is kind of engaged in that vibrato. So give that one a shot. And finally, let's look at a classical vibrato. Now on a fretted instrument, most of the time you're going to be moving your note up and then back to the pitch, or sometimes up and then down. The difference is very simple. So that's up and back, and then up and down would be bending it both ways. But you can also do a classical vibrato, which is simply holding the note without bending it and just moving it side to side, which sounds like this. So without it, it would sound like this. And with it, it would sound like this. And again, you can vary your speed and intensity, but it's another technique that works really well for a more subtle vibrato. All right, now the third technique that we used to add some soul into that little solo was the slow bend. Now there's nothing quite like the slow bend to hit your listener right here. So let's take a listen to a few examples outside of the mix. And for my own personal style, I like to do like the double pump or even the triple pump on a bend, and that sounds like this. Now, if you guys use these three techniques in combination, you're really going to be able to establish an emotional connection with your audience. You don't need super speed, you don't need, a complex phrasing or 20 scales that you're jumping, in and out of to make an emotional connection with your audience. I think the blues really, establishes that point. Anyway, experiment with these three techniques, start adding them into your playing, one by one, and then slowly in combination. So, you can use dynamics in combination with a big slow bend, and then adding some vibrato on the top of the bend. You can do all those kind of things. So even though individually the concepts aren't, mind-blowing, you can combine them to create some really interesting and soulful music. Thanks so much for watching this quick tutorial, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it makes a positive impact in your playing. Enjoy your guitar this week. We'll see you next week with a new video. Take care.